Hello, my name is Michael Kaminsky, and this is my Global History and Culture 1 presentation on the Penn Museum online tour that I took. So, Penn Museum is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's really beautiful. They have this massive garden. It's sort of a small building, though, compared to like the Field Museum in Chicago. So, a little bit about the Penn Museum. It was established in 1887 and it has an enormous collection of artifacts. I think I read online it was around 1.5 million different artifacts. They're not all stored in that little building, but the 1% of artifacts that are displayed are. And all the other artifacts are used for educational purposes. Uh, they hold artifacts from all over the world, starting pre-civilization times, looking at skeletons of ancient humans in the form of biological anthropology. And their mission is to be a center for inquiry and the ongoing exploration of humanity for our University of Pennsylvania, regional, national, and global communities following ethical standards and practices, which I thought was really cool. And then this picture to the right is an Egyptian piece. It doesn't pertain to my presentation, but I thought it looked really cool. So the exhibit that I was looking at in the online tour that I took was the Mexico and Central American Gallery. Penn State has launched over 100 expeditions of their own to discover artifacts that they can use for educational purposes in the form of archaeology. The artifacts that are on display are spanning from 1200 BCE to modern day contemporary heritage practices. So we're spanning about like 3,000 years, something like that. And the artifacts are from Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, and Costa Rica. So Mexico and down throughout Central America. The first artifact that they showed on the tour was Olmec figures, and the Olmec civilization is started around 1800 BCE. The figures were made of jadeite, and this specific one, it was cool to hear about. They said maybe a representation of a maize god. So we're touching into religions and religious practices. And they said that it is defined by the cleft on the upper forehead, how it kind of like concaves a little bit. That was seen as like a symbol of divinity, and it symbolized the earth from which the maize grows, how it's almost gorged upward like that. The second artifact was, I'm gonna have trouble pronouncing it, but Teotihuacan. It's a tripod vessel, and no one knows who built that city, but different civilizations continued to utilize it as a center for trade and stuff like that. They said that the uh, most population that was there was 100,000 people at a time, and that would make it the sixth largest city population wise at the time, which is crazy to think that even back then there were cities that populated. Uh, Teotihuacan is also known as the Painted City, where all of the architecture and buildings were covered in plaster and then painted over in murals. So just imagining walking through these crazy, enormous structures and seeing beautiful paintings all over the sides uh, was definitely a sight to see. So people traveled from all over to visit. I think it was a religious site because they showed pictures of ritual sites and things like that on the tour. And these tripod vessels were sort of like souvenirs for travelers now. You couldn't like rip off a piece of the mural and bring it home with you to remember visiting the city, but you could buy one of these tripod vessels and bring it back with you, decorated and painted in the exact same way. The next artifact is Stela 14 of Pedris Negris. And this, I think, was probably the most interesting to me, because I'm like a logic person. But the stelas are like stone monuments that people would put in public places. This thing is massive. The picture doesn't do it justice, but they showed us a video because they found this on one of their archaeological trips over to Central America. And next to a person, it was like 2.5 people tall, probably weighed so much to transport and stuff like that. It's from a 8th century city state, so it wasn't like an empire in itself, but it was a congregation of people, and there were rulers, and the guy on there was one of the rulers. And on the side, they showed, it was really cool, that this stela was key in deciphering some of the Mayan written language, mostly pertaining to numerical symbols when they were utilized for dating. And they went off of different events as well. There was like a starting symbol, and then there were like 15 different symbols to give you a date. And then after that, it was like a symbol that told you, hey, this event happened. And then they recited the event. And then after that, there was like an artist signature portion as well. It was a really, really interesting piece to learn about. And then the next artifact is the Ulua marble vase. This is a 9th to 10th century vase crafted in Honduras, and it was carved from a single block of marble. So these luxury drinking vessels were obviously very expensive to have commissioned and expensive to buy. But they could tell that it is Ulua because of the art style. There are those swirls on there that they called scrolls. That is very staple characteristic of that civilization. And those scrolls start to form humanistic characteristics. Like in the picture I have on there, a little bit to the right of the center, you can see eyes and a smile and a nose, and then the 4 swirls that go around it. So the artistic value of that, as well as the technology required and the craftsmanship to just be able to chisel that out of a block, is absolutely unbelievable. And then the last artifact I have on here are Aztec ear spools. So they're super intricate turquoise mosaic art designed uh, gauges. So they go in your ear. They were made around 1500, they said, and they're meant to symbolize like status. So people in upper echelons of society would wear these to let everybody know, like, hey, I'm important, how people of that status do. Uh, and then they gave us a little bit of information about how uh, turquoise materials, when the Aztecs were colonized by Spain, they were deemed value enough to be taxed and taken. So a much more, I don't want to say much more advanced, but sailing wise and numerically, mathematically, understanding the value of things, a country from across the ocean came over and saw these and were like, yeah, there would be a demand for those. Those are very valuable things. So how does this exhibit relate to the course? I talked a little bit about it as I was going through, but the exhibit, I liked it a lot because it sort of went along with the passing of time. They let us see, like, here's development occurring in this area, uh, as well as the complexity of these artifacts enhancing. So the religious influence and art style shows a close relationship between Mesoamerican religion and environment. Uh, Talking about like the maize god uh, statue, that was really cool. And we focused a lot on religion as time went by, but not like Mesoamerican religion. So I like to see these outside sources. The stela, the pillar, showed the development of writing and numerical systems, which was accelerated by mathematics. The vase shows a technological advancement as well as artistic through the carving of a single block into this intricate uh, mug vase drinking vessel, and the ear spools show the development of a social hierarchy and a civilization in the area. So, a conclusion: how well did the exhibit present the subject matter? They did really well. I'm definitely not doing it justice, but the way that they went through things and related it to one another was super thought out. And the layout, they had like a map of it that they showed us, and it all flowed really well. The background information, they gave us tons of information on each of the artifacts and how it correlated to the uh, social activities of what was occurring during the time. Is the information clear and understandable? Yeah, besides the pronunciations, it was nice. I just decided to like take my step back and say I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, but and the visible quality of the exhibit, it was online, so it was really well. The photos were taken, and yeah, there's a source if anyone wants to go take the tour as well. And thank you.